Welcome back to the Everyday Finance Podcast, where we are working with the everyday person to maintain financial stability and establish financial independence. Now, me and my co-host Garen, we've got something really near and dear to our hearts today, and that's going to be frugal living and a few different frugal living tips that can help you in your endeavors with your savings all the way to your retirement. And this is something that means a lot to me because as a young person, I've always been told anytime that I'm trying to save or invest my money that I'm basically, being stupid, that, I'm going to regret it when I'm 60, all the things that I didn't do and all the life that I haven't lived. But I think, people get way off track thinking this because you can totally live for today, have a good time, have fun when you're young, and still save and live for tomorrow. And, I think this is something me and Garen, know a lot about, and I think you can bring a lot to the table here.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. I see it every day. People just going out, spending money, having the time of their life in college all the time. And it's not a bad thing, it's always great to make memories and have a good time, but frugality is a very important thing. It'll basically help you make the most of your dollar. Now, frugal living doesn't mean you can't have fun and you can't, make memories and all that jazz. It just means that, you can pinch pennies here and there based on whatever, everything, clothing, insurance, phone bills, and you'd be able to make a little bit more out of your dollar. And you could take that dollar and you could put it a little bit more towards investing or savings. But for the most part, you could also put a little bit more into your entertainment fund. So budgeting does play a key factor in it, and we'll talk about that in a further video. But when it comes to frugal living, I believe the best way to do it is to cut costs on when you're shopping. So shopping can be groceries, it can be day-to-day housing items, clothing. With clothing, I personally like, going thrifting and everything because you can find clothes for like 3, 4, 5, $6 a piece, and a lot of them are nice brand name clothes. They've been lightly used, and a lot of them just look brand new. And of course, you can sort through the rubble and try to find yourself the cleanest pair out of them all. And I promise you, you'll still be looking just as spiffy as you were before. Um, but other places like groceries, maybe save some money by purchasing items that are either about to expire, or maybe even going towards a little bit more of fresh produce, and kind of cooking your own and meal prepping and everything. And I'd like to consider it as a mastery of the skill, but I'd like to say that I've been able to save a decent amount of money by kind of just grocery shopping and meal prepping. Like each of my meals cost me about $2 to $3 a piece. And I'm able to save a lot of money that way because, you go out one day and you hit the restaurant or whatever, you can grab a beer and a meal, and you end up spending somewhere around $30 nowadays. So saving where you can in order to still have those experiences and enjoy them a little more without being stressed, it's always great. As for your like insurance rates and like phone bills, a lot of the times you can just call your companies and try to ask for a better rate, or you can, I wouldn't say threaten, but you can let them know that you'd be trying to switch to a different provider. And for 9 times out of 10, they'll drop your rates, save you some money. Or you can try to find another provider if that doesn't happen. And a lot of the times, these insurance rates end up just going up, um, or really staying stable, not necessarily going up. But a lot of companies are dropping rates just for like new customers and everything. And, you can kind of match those rates personally.
Yeah. I think Garen's getting up something really interesting here, and that's, about shopping around. And I think this is one of the most important things that I try to stress when, it's about frugal living and saving. I think you can really save money without, having to lose elsewhere. So, a lot of the things Garen was talking about too, and this is a lot of the big ways you can save money is, by cutting back on certain things, or, even when you go on a vacation, you're dropping down, you're not flying first class, or you're not buying like, the most premium hotel stays, you're just cutting back a little bit. But you need to, first of all, decide what's important to you realistically. If it is your vacationing that's important to you, maybe it's elsewhere that you need to cut back. That way you can have the lavish vacations. But realistically, you don't need to lose to still save money. As long as you're smart about it, you can put away and you can have the best vacations if that's, the best thing for you that, brings you the most enjoyment. You can have the best vacations, you can go ahead and splurge because you went ahead and you saved on all the other things that really didn't mean that much to you. And then, when you do stuff like that and you spend time enjoying, like doing the things you do like to enjoy, then you'll find yourself more fulfilled. And I think this is something I'm looking to do in my daily life more and more. I'm trying to, get into pursuing what I need to do to move towards a future where I can do more and more of the daily tasks that I enjoy and not doing the things that I don't enjoy. So by saving your money, it's going to help you to be able to free up that time, because anything that wastes your time, basically, you can solve by having money, having more money, and using that money as a tool, because the more money you make, the more things you can afford not to do, realistically. And the more money you're wasting, the more things you're forced to do. So the more you save, the more free time you have for yourself. And, I'd like to say, Garen was getting into a lot of specifics. If anyone has anything that's really been like a breakthrough frugal living tip that they've, used throughout their life or that they've had recommended to them, like, go ahead and drop that in the comments, because, of course, we're always looking for frugal living tips. And I'm sure anybody watching this channel will be completely interested into that. I don't know what you have to say about that.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of the things that come down to it is just finding areas to pinch your pennies. And, your costs of living essentially when it comes to rent and bills are fairly, stagnant. They stay the same. You're going to be, those are your fixed costs, you're going to be paying that either way. So the areas that you can really pinch pennies are going to be essentially your spending habits and what you like to do, the ways you like to spend your money. So if you can cut your costs there, then you'll be able to take your dollar a lot farther. And with the example that you gave with vacationing, you'd be able to still have a lavish vacation and still have money in your pocket to maybe spend there. And you don't have to break the bank in order to do some of these things. And that can be just as simple as maybe getting an Airbnb instead of a hotel room, or, there's various ways to save your money. It just takes a little bit of thought, and you kind of have to take a step back from always spending and analyze kind of what you're spending on. And by doing that, you'd be able to make the most out of your dollar.
Definitely, I 100% agree. And, it's like Garen mentioned about before, we're going to do another video about budgeting, but making a budget is really important to know where you're spending money and, decide what you're allowing yourself to spend money on. Because once you track how much money you're spending, where you spend it, where every dollar that you make goes, because usually for the average American, it goes somewhere. It doesn't just exist in your bank account after you make it. So, once you realize where everything's going, then you might think, well, I'm actually spending a lot too much money here, and you're actually unhappy about how much money you're spending. And you can dial and you can decide what you like, what's more important. And that's going to help you to do a lot when it comes to living frugally, because you can dial back anything that you realize isn't important to you. And through shopping around for other stuff that you feel is important to you, you can really knock back your costs. And I think what Garen really just mentioned, and this is what I wanted to say, is that if you need to save money in something, you should take time into it. If it's through shopping around, looking at other distributors, other sellers, other dealerships when you're looking for a car, you have to shop around, or you have to put some of your own work up front. Like if you're buying a piece of furniture, you might buy from IKEA, because then you have to assemble it yourself, right? So anything else, if you're trying to be more frugal, you can usually trade a little bit of time, because I was just talking about trading your money for someone else's time to solve one of your problems. But if you really want to be frugal, and especially when you're young, usually you have more time than you do have money. You can go ahead and trade some more of that time away like you usually do at your job. So, it goes both ways.
So I think there's a few key points to take away from this. It's that one, to shop around for options. Two, to cut your variable costs, which kind of would just be your shopping and the ways you spend your money. And three, to plan everything. By budgeting and properly planning, you'll really be able to not only make the most out of your money, but stop stressing as much because at least you have a plan. And when you have a plan for something, you feel a little bit more comfortable on being able to hit your end goal.
Definitely. Definitely. And on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I just want to say thank you for watching if you've made it this far. And we hope to see you in the next installment of the Everyday Finance Podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.